Well, here I sit. It's morning. Click here when live for stream info, viewers, counts, and more. Well, guess what? I have none, and that's okay. I wish everybody a good morning. That's for sure. And trying to get a few things straightened out. There we go. Having my coffee here in the Philippines, here in Angeles City, actually. It is 6 a.m. And just trying, oh, good morning. Thank you for whoever tossed that thumbs up, my one live stream viewer. That's fine. Oh, good morning, Scott. How are you? I hope you're doing well. We been kind of busy here. I apologize. I really and truly do. We've had so much going on. We had our Thailand trip. Excuse me. We had our Thailand trip, and from that, we found out that Arlen's father had a GI bleed. So we had to put him in the hospital, blood transfusions, and Arlen's down in the province right now. He's out of the hospital and doing well. Hey, Scott, how are you? It's good to see you. I apologize again. Oh, anyways, I apologize, but we've just been super busy and had so much going on. I'm proud to say that even though Arlen is in the province and she's been there for the past 4 days, and it's raining like hell in Mindanao, they're having terrible flooding. Our house is all fine. Um, but I'm happy to say that the kitchen is clean, laundry is done, everything else is taken care of here. I've been a good boy uh, the whole time Arlen's been gone. The house is all picked up and nice. It is what it is. So Arlen's staying in the house that we have in the province, which is right down the street from her father's place. And I tell you, I've been looking at the news here lately, and sometimes I feel. Remember, some of you might be a little bit too young to remember. It was never the greatest movie of all time, that's for sure. But there was a movie with Donald Sutherland, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Hiya, James. I didn't hire anybody uh, for anything that I'm supposed to. Was I supposed to hire somebody? I don't know. But Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I feel like I'm living in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I've been watching, I watch a lot of. Uh, Good morning, Jim, and thank you so very much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Scott, it was a good movie. Um, I'm just trying to think. I think that the aliens have landed. I really and truly do, and I think they've invaded the bodies of those people who run the world. It is ridiculous the shit that I see in the news. Sometimes I'm so happy living in the Philippines and not having to be a part of or involved in the situation in the U.S. But I am amazed that people can be that way. You know, I'm amazed that people shooting at each other kids shooting at kids, parents killing their children. Um, I'm even more amazed at more recently Biden's doctor saying he's a vigorously fit 80-year-old. I think there should be a cognitive test that every presidential candidate should take, and that every president should be subject to every 2 years, because he's just not all there. I'm not going to get into whether he's good, bad, or indifferent. Okay? I'm just saying, invasion of the body snatchers. I think aliens have invaded some of the people that run the country. Here in the Philippines, hey, it's pretty much status quo. What can I say? We don't have any issues here, that's for sure, with respect to our personal lives. And we don't get involved in Philippine politics because, well, I'm not a Philippine citizen and it's not my place. Not my place to tell them how to run their country or agree or disagree or anything like that. I have a 13A visa, and my wife and I live very simple, easy lives. And hey, life is good. What can I say? I'm still alive. I beat the odds. And I think I got a couple more good years left in me, maybe. I spoke to my daughter this morning, and if she's watching, good luck. She's going to be taking her GREs tomorrow. It'd be Saturday night there, or late Saturday afternoon there in California, where she goes to college, and she'll take her GREs Sunday. So she's probably at work right now, and then she'll hop in the car and drive down to Sacramento, visit her mom, stay there, and take her GREs on Sunday. Then drive back up to Chico to go back to school on Monday. So good luck, Bean. Dad loves you and misses you. You know, it'll be nice to see her this summer when she comes out to visit. I don't know, Jim, how do you manage to live in LA? What is it that keeps you going there? I look at everything in California and keep a pretty good eye on that because my daughter is there. And it just seems like a nutcase job there. It really and truly does. Well, let's see. Matthew wants to know, what do we do for health care? Well, Matthew, first off, we have 3 hospitals here in Angeles, and they're okay. They're not world renowned. They're not what I would call university affiliated, although they are university affiliated. And they do have teaching, residency, and fellowship programs. And they have pretty good equipment. But here, I'm on my wife's PhilHealth, which is negligible and junk. And in addition to that, I do have a primary care doctor, and he's pretty good. And I have a couple of specialists because I have some specialized needs, and they're pretty good. But everything's on their time, and if you think getting an appointment in the U.S. is difficult, getting an appointment and keeping that appointment in the Philippines is a little bit more difficult. It's not uncommon for me to have an appointment with one of my doctors and then turn around and have him cancel 10 minutes in advance that he can't make it because they practice at multiple places in order to earn a living or the living that they desire. With doctor visits being what they are, we keep a safety fund for medical expenses. My wife has Philippine insurance on top of PhilHealth. And then we just pay out of pocket because the cost is very reasonable. Now, if there was a big emergent issue, one of the biggest emergent issues that we would have would be like a cardiac stent or something cardiac at my age. I'd go down to St. Luke's I'd go down to St. Luke's in Manila, or I would for that. Matthew says, so do you self-fund pretty much? Yes, we self-fund. And, I can always go back to the U.S., or actually I can go to Guam and use regular health insurance and Medicare. An appointment with a specialist in the U.S. can take 2 months. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's changed so much since I was in the healthcare field. When I was in the healthcare field, an appointment with a specialist was not nearly as difficult as it is now. And the reason for that, I think, is essentially 2008. When the stock market took such a big hit in 2008, that hit hurt doctors immensely. Because prior to 2008, and during those years, actually all the way up to 2011, the retirement funding in the U.S. for self-directed pension plans, not 401ks, okay, but dedicated pension plans, all right? Those things were much, much better and easier. And with that being said, doctors lost a lot of money. So they had to stay in practice. And we estimated, and there were a lot of studies done, that there would be a crucial problem in 2017 of a mass exodus of doctors from actively practicing. Obamacare was another huge issue, Dardis, a big issue, and I have huge problems with it. Obamacare was a disaster from day one and continues to be a disaster. I'll tell you something about Obamacare. A lot of people don't realize this, but in order for Obamacare to pass, in order for Obama to get that legislation to pass, what he did was he guaranteed, the U.S. government guaranteed every insurance plan that participated in Obamacare that it would, at a minimum, break even in giving care under Obamacare. And the problem with that was that it had a 2-year moratorium. So at the end of 2 years, these insurance plans had to stand on their own. That was the best word, safe word. And what you noticed is that, we say there's more than one way to skin a cat. And if you've ever owned a business or know anybody that owns a business, let's just say that accounting for, businesses can be somewhat unique. All right. So the healthcare plans were extremely heavy on administrative costs, highly inflated. They made tons of money. And if you remember Obamacare, in the beginning, you could sign up for Obamacare and you would have your choice in your state of an easy half a dozen or more insurance plans. After that 2-year moratorium, most states had less than 3 plans for their entire population to sign up on. I know that in Arizona, 2 years after that moratorium ended, in many parts of Arizona, you had one plan to choose from, and that was it. Because doctors said, hey, I can't make money if I'm not going to be reimbursed for these losses. I'm not going to treat patients that inexpensively. So Obamacare was a complete disaster, continues to be a complete disaster, and I don't give a shit. I can argue that all day long with anybody that thinks otherwise. It is the only people that benefited drastically from Obamacare were the insurance companies. Because quite frankly, if you were poor and couldn't afford health insurance before Obamacare, you had a social network of Medicaid. It was already there. Excuse me. I caught a little bit of a cold in Thailand, I think. I've had a stuffy nose since I got back. So, yeah, Obamacare was a disaster. So, Jim says, I asked him how he takes it. And he's been in LA since '79. And he says it's a clown show in California and the U.S. in general. He's been to Cebu 11 times since 2007. Divorced from Penne wife a few years now. Retiring soon. Can't wait. Hey, you know what? That's great, Jim. I'm sad that, your relationship didn't work out. But quite frankly, been there, done that. Although with an American wife. Actually, with 2 American wives. Okay? I'm not perfect by any way, shape, or means. Cebu, if you know where you're going and what you're doing and everything that goes along with it, it's great. We don't, we visit Cebu, generally just to hold over and then flip over to Bohol. Absolutely love Bohol. Really and truly do. But California is an absolute shit show. That's for sure. So how long is it going to be, Jim? I mean, are you close to retirement or are you still talking a couple more years? And what is it that draws you to Cebu? Why do you like Cebu? I'm certainly that since 1979, you've traveled all over the Philippines. What is it that makes Cebu so attractive for you? Although I will tell you, Cebu does have one of the only 3 Joint Commission accredited hospitals in the entire Philippines. Only 3 hospitals in the U.S., in the Philippines, pass the standards and accreditation on an annual basis, or it's actually, I think, once every 2 years. And Cebu has one of them. So it does have an excellent hospital system. But what is it that makes Cebu so attractive to you? That would be interesting to know. It just wasn't my cup of tea, but maybe I didn't spend enough time there. I didn't know my way around, and yet we ran into a lot of people in Angeles City, although we used to live in Manila as well. But the traffic and the chaos in Manila is just too much for me. And I've lived in big cities, but Manila can be a shit show if you're not careful. It really and truly can. So we went to Thailand week before last. Spent a week in Thailand. Had a great time. In fact, I posted a video this morning of Arlen and I going down to the tiger zoo. I'm going to tell you, man, you know, you think about how big tigers are, but until you stand beside a tiger, an adult tiger, I am telling you, those guys are huge. I mean, huge. I was absolutely stunned. I mean, these things are taller than I am. All right. They weigh in. The tiger that we were interacting with and petting and doing whatever weighed 440 pounds. And I can't say enough about the Tiger Zoo itself. It's a internationally recognized habitat, rehabilitation, and breeding program for tigers. And I know a lot of people don't like, you know, what it takes. See here, Jim, you know what? I missed something here. I apologize. Mike, what is the average cost, pesos per meter, for a lot in the provinces? Cebu say 5,000, 1,000. You know, I don't know in Cebu. Okay? I can tell you that, let me get my little handy dandy phone out here and my calculator. You know, Jim, title land is, you know, there's a difference between buying real land or between buying land and titled land. Okay? And titled land is becoming more and more expensive. So 250, let me see here, 1,400,000 divided by 250. In Mindanao, and I would expect prices to be cheaper in Mindanao, and I would especially expect prices to be cheaper in where our home is in Mindanao, which is in Kitcheneroo, halfway between Surigao City and Butuan. We have a 250 square meter lot, and we paid $1.4 million, but it is surveyed and fully titled. And it had already been surveyed and fully titled and on the tax rolls in advance. So that's about 5,600 pesos, I think, per meter. Now, it may have been more expensive than Cebu, only because there's so little real titled land where we live. Most of the land, 80% of the land where we live, is not titled, does not have a clear and clean title. So if that gives you a general idea, I hope, I would think 10,000 a square meter is going to be high. I think if you're willing to live a little bit out of town, you're going to get that pricing way down. But again, you know, you could watch a couple of my videos on building in the province and some others about the necessary steps to protect you building and buying land. You really and truly have to make sure it's real. And you have to make sure that the land that you're actually buying, even though it's titled, is the land you're physically looking at. You have to get a survey. You absolutely do. Stardust, my wife wants us to retire in Binana Laguna, and I want to live in the province in the middle of nowhere. Still have about 20 years to keep gathering data from people like you. Well, I'll tell you, we do have, I mean, you know what? We have a house, and I consider it the province. It's in a town population of about 7,000, they say. Um, and that's as provincey as I can take. There's no McDonald's, no Burger King, no Pizza Hut, no Jollibee. All right. Somebody did open a fried chicken joint. It's a little sketchy. Uh, and getting things in those environments is difficult. And when I say that, what I mean is that we can go to the hardware store and we can buy paint. Can we get a high quality paint in the color we want? You know how you can go into a big hardware store, you want paint, you match it up, they add a couple drops to white, and it comes out the exact color. In the province, where we live, we have 3 hardware stores. And if you don't want the color that's in the can that you're buying, and they got about 5 colors, well, you're screwed. We buy a large percentage of stuff like that. I mean, that's just one of the things. Tempered glass. Forget it. You're not going to buy that in the province. You're going to have to get that in the big city. Pharmaceuticals. I can get my pharmaceuticals there, but not always. Like, for instance, I can't get insulin all the time. They don't keep it always in stock. So I have to think weeks in advance when I'm down there. Will I have enough insulin, or do I need to go to Butuan and buy some more? Other things that are difficult to come by, they're just the simple things, really and truly the simple things that are hard to come by. But if you live close to a major city, you can pick up almost everything you want. Some things are still difficult. Some things are hard to come by. Like, our house is what I would say 80% complete. It's very livable. All right. In fact, you can see videos of our house um, in the channel. But one of the things I need to get done now is I need to get baseboard molding. I'm having a hell of a time trying to find baseboard wood molding. I can go to the major hardware stores in Butuan, all right, and I can tell you, I can buy baseboard, but I can only buy maybe 50 linear feet. That's it. That's all they have in stock, and they don't know when they're going to get any more to match what I'm buying. And I want the whole house to match. So I'm going to have to buy more base. I'm going to have to order. And, when you order this stuff, you have to pay in advance. So it's one thing at a time. I mean, we're at a point now where we live in the house when we're there. It's very comfortable. We have custom furniture that we had built for the master bedroom. I mean, what we're doing now are projects you would do in your home in every city. They're just projects that are not repairs or replacements. They're initial stuff like baseboards. Let's see here. My daughter says, my wife's family lives in the area, so I do not think I will have a say in the location because in general, they are close and like to stay together. Well, you know what? Daughters, Filipinos have very, very, very tight family concepts. They are, like many Asian cultures, expected to be in a tight environment. Arlene's family, they're very, very tight family. And, we could never live in the province full time, although it's not uncommon for us to go there for a month. We could never live there full time, but Arlene's there. Arlene goes, to visit her family and folks at least once every couple months. All right. And generally, I go with her. This particular trip, I didn't. Only because her father was in the hospital, and I felt it was unwise for me to be in that environment, and I would be of more use through video conferencing than everything that's going to transpire through that. But her dad's out of the hospital now. So Jim says he's 57 in May, need to work a few more years, need the 401k, added savings, Social Security. Been dreaming of retiring there forever. Love the people. Cebu is my head and my heart. History there. Well, you know what, Jim? Then you have to go where you're happy. And that's what we tell people all the time. We tell people, if you're going to come to the Philippines, don't decide, make multiple trips to other parts of the Philippines. See it, live it. Don't get tied to one particular place until you've given it time. We were like that. We still travel all over the Philippines, though COVID put a big damper in that for a while. But we still travel all over in the Philippines. Bohol, I would love to live there for the beauty of it. All right? But I couldn't live that remote. I have to have a large group. I have to be able to exercise my mind, and that means I have to have expats to discuss current events and things like that with. So it doesn't really work that well. There are other places as well that are beautiful. I mean, to see the true beauty of the Philippines, you got to get out of the big cities, really and truly. I mean, right now, Dumaguete is a big hot spot. Iloilo is a big hot spot. They're both beautiful areas. And if that's your thing, that's your thing. Scott says 983 days and counting until I retire, but we'll be there in December for a month. Well, Scott, we live at Candy Palace. All right, we own a unit here at Candy Palace. Please let us know when you're here. We'll have a beer and we'll meet up. Would love to meet you. We enjoy time here. We like our unit. It is good construction with minor defects. How's that the best way to say it? All right. But of all the places that we could have bought here in Angeles City, I think we picked the perfect place for us. I really do. Candy Palace, again, it fits. It fits our financial position. It has great security. It has good conveniences. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Arlene's been in the province for, as of this morning, 5 days. And I haven't left Candy Palace in 3 of those days. One day, I only left to go meet some friends for lunch. And one day, I went and met some friends and had drinks at the bars. So, I mean, everything's here. I have a pool. I have 2 restaurants. All right. Delivery. Everything I want is right here. Everything I need is right here. Today, I'm going to go and meet with, I'm going to go to Tequila Reef for breakfast today at 8 o'clock, where a couple days a week, we meet up with, I meet up with some of the other bloggers. And after Tequila Reef, I'll stop by JJ's Market and pick up a few odds and ends. Mostly snack shit that I shouldn't be eating. But I'm going to pick up a few odds and ends at JJ's, and I'll be here. I would bet the rest of the day and the rest of the night. I have multiple videos I need to work on. We've got another video we've got the video of Arlen paragliding, which I'm hoping to get done tonight. And then there's a video of Arlen and Cherry, one of our friends. She is the girlfriend of one of my expat friends at the floating market. And I think, then there's the big seafood escapade for that we did in Bangkok. And so I've got those 3 videos to work on, and then we'll go from there. So I'll be here, and with Arlen gone, I can pretty much watch whatever I want on TV, lay in bed, do nothing if I want to. Although I do need to get out more. But we'll see. Arlen's father's got a follow-up exam hour tomorrow, Monday. And he's going to get another some blood work done to see how his red blood cell count is, whether his internal bleeding has quit. So apparently he's looking better. I've seen him. He's looking better. He's not pale. We think we probably got past that. Now we have to get past the issue of changing his diet, because his diet for that peptic ulcer is not going to cure it. He's got to get off the acid. He really and truly does. That's something the Filipinos actually have an issue with. They have a very high acidic they eat a lot of highly acidic foods. Chicken adobo, super acidic. All right, they make everything with soy sauce, vinegar, and a couple of other items that are super high in acid. You know, ceviche. My wife's family loves ceviche. They eat it. It seems like every day, but probably 3 to 4 days a week. You know, the way you cure the meat, the fish that you put in ceviche, is by acid. So they have you have to keep track of that. And after 50 years of acid in your stomach, it's going to wear it out. So her dad is going to have to change his diet. It's 6:38. I'll bet you my wife is secretly watching this from the province. If she is, hey, Arlen, baby, love you. So everything else is pretty much copacetic. It's interesting. The new visiting forces agreement between the U.S. and the Philippines was big news. And then now the next big news is the visiting forces agreement between Japan and the Philippines. This is going to piss the Chinese off, no doubt. All right. I mean, they're not happy at all that the VFA was extended, and they're not happy at all that the possibility of a mutual protection thing is going to happen with the Japanese. Let's see, Jim. Let's see what we got here. Jim asks, coming out there in March for a month, is Angeles all that much? Something to see. It's really not my scene, but have heard a lot about Angeles. Otherwise, staying in Cebu, Lapu-Lapu, Mactan. Okay, well, there's a big difference between Angeles City and Cebu, Lapu-Lapu, and Mactan. Cebu, Lapu-Lapu, and Mactan, you have the beaches and the ocean. Angeles City is inland. It's a 45-minute drive, easy drive, to Subic, which, quite frankly, those beaches are really not so good. Okay? Um, However, if you drive another 45 minutes past that, there's Zamboanga and Zambales, uh, up past there. There's beautiful places within an hour, hour and a half of Angeles. Angeles City is traffic, not as bad as Manila by any way, shape, or means. But the beauty of Angeles City is there are primarily three major things. Angeles City, number one, has a good healthcare system. Angeles City, number two, has a large, diverse environment for expats with respect to food choices and the malls and shopping for necessary items. And then finally, in our opinion, Angeles City provides a very large expat population. And that expat population, to me, is one of the most important things that Angeles City presents. It really and truly is. Okay? You have to keep your mind busy. You cannot rely on sitting in front of a TV. You need to be able to have conversations that are challenging and yet intriguing. And you need to have that with people who know how to do that. You know, they have to be able to converse, and they actually have to be reasonably knowledgeable about those current events. And that Angeles City has. And that is one thing that many other places do not have. Okay? Finally, if you are single, Angeles City has the bars, which it's, kind of famous for. It is what it is, and if that's your thing, that's great. We have a lot of friends that go to the bars every other day, every 3 days. Okay? And that's just all there is to it. But I mean, it just depends on what you're looking for, Jim. It really and truly does. It has an international airport. It's really not, the airport here is really not in what I would call full swing. It's a very nice airport, and they've expanded it quite well. And it is very, very nice. However, what it doesn't have is a lot of flights. Even domestically, there are not a lot of flights, and the vast majority of the flights are not nonstop. For instance, if we want to go to the province from here, we would have to actually catch a flight to Cebu, lay over in Cebu, and then take the next flight to Butuan. We can't get a direct here. So it's got a great future, but it's just not there yet. But there are so many other aspects. Down the road, where will you be happy? Where is the growth going to be, and where are the resources going to be? And I think that Angeles City is a prime example with the huge Clark Free Zone area is under constant construction. Constant. They're expanding that more and more every day. And it's just poised to take off. So we like Angeles City for that. But that may not be your cup of tea. It absolutely may not. so you have to come and visit. What can I say? Uh, that's what it really boils down to. Is you need to come, you need to visit, you need to see the place. That's going to help you figure it out. It really and truly is. Um, and we recommend that you do that with multiple places. That you go to multiple places and see them, because you may find out that Dumaguete is a good place for you. It's got a smaller expat population, but it might be big enough. All right. Um, it's not got the shopping or the restaurants that we have in Angeles, but you may not need that. You may need some, but not all. Yeah, you know what, Ken? Good morning. I heard Bagio is expanding also, and that'll be interesting because Bagio is one of those places that kind of resembles some places in the U.S. It can actually get nice and chilly there. And after a while, I mean, you have to keep in mind, I guess, you get tired of it hot all the time. Although right now it's been beautiful. This past couple weeks, actually, have been absolutely incredible temperature wise here. I mean, it's just nice. Absolutely. I mean, I don't, I only run the aircon at night. And that, I don't even need to do that. That's just because I'm a creature of habit and I want when I sleep, you know, at 70 degrees and below. But I could probably sleep um, uh, with just a fan. But I can afford it, and so no big deal. Ken says that he hopes so because he loves it up there. It's a 3 to 4 hour drive from Manila. Yeah, it's not bad. Um, it's gotten much busier. That drive has gotten a little thicker now. It can take about 4 to 5 hours, just because the road is busier. There's a lot more trucking because a lot of people don't realize there's a ton of vegetables that come from up north. Okay, and they pass down that one main highway. Um, it is, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, and people just don't realize it. But Baguio is very, very nice. It is limited. Living conditions up there are still limited. Um, to live in a Western style housing enclosure is far more limited than in Angeles. However, that being said, there's nothing that says you can't build your own. You can do that. Especially if you have a Filipino wife. But land up there, I think, is expensive. I don't know. I never really looked into it. It's a nice place to visit. It's just not a place that we would live. I mean, you have to keep in mind, we've lived, I've lived all over the world. I was raised in Tokyo and Hong Kong, homes in, Arizona, in multiple homes in the U.S., Philippines, Mexico. We've traveled or I've traveled quite extensively, but long before Arlen and I met, and we still travel. Arlen and I, Arlen used to live in the U.S. I mean, that's where Arlen learned to drive in the U.S. She, she acclimated quite well to the U.S. Um, My buddy just built a real nice house about 45 minutes from Bagio. Oh, wow, Ken. How's it, did he find it reasonably priced to build that house? I'd be interested to know how his pricing went. And Ken says he was there last April and loved the city. Can't wait to go back. You know what? Then that's what matters. If you love it, that's what matters. That's what makes the big difference. All right. And that's what it's all about. Don't go, I got to tell you, YouTubers are like assholes. All right. Everybody's got one. You need to, it's nice to see information that we give, but you have to recognize that all of us are individual, and what we like and what we think and how we feel about things could be radically different. All right. Than the way you feel. So you have to experience it yourself. You really and truly do. Oh man, Tardis goes. He has a lot of Frederico's, Filbertos, Hilbertos. Here, how's the Mexican food here? Well, you know what? It's hard to beat a Filberto's breakfast burrito at 3 o'clock in the morning, coming back from drinking all night with buddies out in Phoenix. That being said, we have a couple of Mexican places. They are okay, but you're not going to get that. You're just not going to get it here. And you're not going to get it here because they won't do what's necessary. In other words, if you've ever been to a Filberto's, they make their own refried beans. You can see them cooking the beans in the back, the big pot and everything else. Here it comes out of a can. I don't know, of the 3 Mexican restaurants here, they don't make their own. And the reason is because trying to get the ingredients, it's difficult. It really is. Just like Hatch chilies. Man, Hatch chilies are almost impossible to get here. Of course, they're imported. And when they are imported, they're canned and pickled. You don't get it. Mexican food here is in Angeles City. In Manila, there's some good Mexican fusion restaurants. So it is, what it is. There, Ken says he paid around $50,000 for a nice 2-bedroom modern style house. Nice. That's a good deal. Robert, how are you? We're doing great. Hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for asking. Dardis, lots of Bertos here. Yeah, they're all over. All over. And Ken says, yeah, you know what? It's hard to find in the Phils good Mexican food. I will tell you, Mexican food comes in some distinct different, there's Tex-Mex, there's Sonoran Mexican food, there's the central area. I mean, Mexican food varies, just like American food does. It's just like trying to say, hey, this is the way you make barbecue. All right, barbecue in North Carolina radically different than barbecue in Texas. Radically different than barbecue in St. Louis, and completely different from barbecue in California. Same thing in Mexico. Our very, very favorite Mexican restaurant in the U.S. is a place called Papacitos. It's actually a family-owned chain. I've never seen one outside of Texas. Now they have another chain called Papa Do's, and they have those outside of Texas. But I've never seen them do Papacitas. And let's see here. Wait a second. So, yeah, it's hard to find good Mexican food. Um, let's see here. His wife already owned the land for many years, so no expense there. Yeah, that kind of helps. That's for sure. I think land. I wonder it would be interesting to find out how much is land cost up in Bagio. I bet it's expensive. I think it's expensive. That's my guess. It is like the Philippines. Each area have their own specialties. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Every area has their own. I mean, even the food in my wife's province area is different, definitely different. So than somewhere else, and the food in Palawan is somewhat different. So, well, folks, I hate to say it, but I've got my wife texting me. I've got my daughter texting me. So, and I know my daughter, she's in the car driving, and she's bored as she drives down to Sacramento to stay with her mom. Uh, Hold on, Big Johnson. Let's see here. Chubbs DC went to a place or an Angel City. Yeah, he went to a place open and brought his family around. It looked pretty good. Can't remember. I think, Big Johnson, I think you're talking about Amigos. And Amigos is good. They have um, some good tacos. And there's another place that just recently opened. There's another place that just recently opened. You know what? I say recently opened. That's wrong. That's a lie. They didn't just recently open. We just recently became aware of them. Okay? And I wish I could remember the name of it now. Pineapple something or another. It's right next to Bellissimo. I know as soon as I get done, I'm going to forget the name of it. But they do street tacos, and they do some great street tacos. I mean, they really have some good stuff. Um, but there's more to Mexican food than street tacos, in my opinion. Pineapple Coast. That's it. The name of it's Pineapple Coast. So Amigos, which is really good, okay, and Pineapple Coast, really good. Yeah, you'll miss a good hamburger. You know what, Big Johnson? I got to tell you, you're not going to get Five Guys or In and Out or anything like that here. That's just life. That's just all there is to it. You're not going to get that kind of meat here. They can tell you it's USDA imported. You know what? It's USDA and it's imported. Okay? But it's been sub-frozen. Okay? So when you thaw out meat and it has a purple tinge to it, it's because the actual cellular structure of the hemoglobin inside the blood cells burst. So the hemoglobin is now exposed. And that's a big deal. Yeah. Five Guys is just jamming. I love Five Guys. In fact, that's one of my favorite burger places. It really and truly is. And I love getting a double-double over at In-N-Out Burger as well. So, all right, guys, I hate to say it, but like I said, I got my wife texting me. I got my daughter texting me. I'm going to have to run. You guys take care, and we'll touch base again. Please subscribe, check us out, watch a couple videos, let us know what you think. We hope you have a great day, and we hope everybody's happy. Bye.